Hello and welcome to another episode. Shall I do a little life update while we're here? Because I feel like I haven't done one recently. So what's been happening in my world? Well, behind the scenes, I have been working on a bit of a rejigger thing. So I've been going back to basics with my business, working and looking at my values, my messaging, which for those of you who follow me on social media have probably seen a little switch of focus there. I have streamlined my services. And I definitely have to do an episode talking about that, talking about how I've basically pivoted the launch that I was going to do this year. I'm no longer doing. So I was going to do my foundations program launch. I will still use my foundations program because I feel like a lot of that work is necessary and important. However, it's not going to be something that I'm launching. It just, the idea of that massive launch does not align with me, and I want to be working on what does align with me, which the focus is heavily going to be my time rich mastermind. Focusing on my innovation celebration event that is coming up at the end of the year. The materials and things have started to arrive for it, so I'm really excited about that. And a lot of behind the scenes work. So I've recently done an SEO course to learn about basics of SEO, which has now developed into, there was a lot of website updates that I needed to do. And instead of just updating, I'm just going to start fresh and build a brand new website for my brand. I've launched in March, for those of you that have followed my journey, my social success business, which has also had a bit of a rejig in the recent months, in the recent weeks. So I actually didn't do a podcast episode last week because basically I sat in my office last week and I was like, that's not what I want to do. I just didn't feel like I wanted to record anything, so I decided not to. And this is the freedom that we deserve to have in our business. And this is going to link into today's episode, as I'm going to be talking about making social media work for you and not the other way around, because that is what I feel freedom is working your business, making your business work for you and not the other way around. So I'm going to lean into that. But I decided that last week because we had a very, very busy week with a family wedding on the Thursday, which meant that we were staying over. So I lost 2 days of business, 2 days of work on the Thursday and Friday, squeezed everything in to the Monday and Tuesday. And my networking business was amazing last month. Like, the Leeds events are happening really, really well. We've brought on 3. At the end of this month, it'll be 4 leaders, with lots of interest for more. It's going really well, and we've restructured a little bit behind the scenes because that business is my business. I'm the head of it, I'm the CEO, I'm the founder. However, I do not want to be the face of the brand, and there's reason behind that is because when it comes to social media, I want people to connect with the essence of the brand. I want people to connect with the leaders in their local area and come for them, not for me, and build impact through the ethos of the brand, which is all about inclusivity, accessibility, and breaking down the barriers to networking. So that's been happening behind the scenes. We've had a restructure there, making massive progress there, which I'm actually going to be working on today after I've recorded this episode, and it's all very exciting. It feels so aligned, it feels great. Things feel easy and simple, which for those of you that have been following these episodes, if you backtrack a few months ago, I did an episode all about burnout, I think it was. Let me just have a look, actually. I've got my podcast sheet. Back in April, I did an episode, Building Without Burnout, and I talked about my journey in terms of burnout and what I'd gone through. I then shared, what else did I share? I kind of opened up a little bit, really, and talked about how systems create freedom and how I've used those in my business to create freedom. And I love the idea that I'm taking you on this journey with me as part of this podcast, and I feel like this is so needed. However, today I'm going to be talking about making social media work for you. So when it comes to any element of your business, I want you to make sure it's aligned for you and it's working for you, and you're not just taking the advice of people like me who are business coaches and telling you to do X, Y, Z. Because the thing is, right, when someone tells you to do something, yes, it might work, but it might not work for you. It might work for them, it might not work for you. You've got to do things in an aligned way. So this episode, I'm going to dive into that. And I want to begin with reframing the role of social media. So social media, it's meant to do as it says on the tin. It's social and it's sharing media. We are meant to use social media to connect with people. So I want you to reframe what the role of social media is for your business. I think a lot of people use it just to sell. And I have in the past used it just for sales, right? Focusing purely on sales. But we need to think about what the role is for you, for your business. Social media is a tool. It's not your whole business strategy. And there are way too many people putting all of their eggs in one basket and using social media as their whole strategy. It's not about that, right? It is a tool. It's a way to communicate. It's a way to connect with people. And I want you to understand how you can use it as a tool, as a way to connect with people, not just to perform, not just to go, oh, look at me, what I can do and what I can sell, right? I want you to think about how you can use it for connection, because that is what it's designed for. And when you align that with your business plans, it gets you results. Also, there is a danger of chasing the algorithm over alignment. And I'm talking to those of you that have followed the gurus that tell you to post 6 times a day when you're launching, 3 times a day. And this is people that I've worked with, people that I learned from, absolutely taught me this, and I absolutely followed these tips when I first started out. Of course I did. But I want you to stop chasing the algorithm and think about what aligns with you. If it is too overwhelming for you right now to post that amount of times a day, or to be on that platform, or whatever the tip of the moment is, I want you just to come back to yourself and recognise what is working for you. So let's start there. I want you to get real clear on what the purpose of social media is for you, for your business, how you can use it as a tool to connect with people. Because the thing is, you don't want to lead into burnout. Something I'm speaking about at the moment is freedom, right? And when it comes to freedom, I want you and your business to create freedom and to create fortune, not burnout and breakdown. Because the reality is, if we don't set boundaries, this is the next thing I want to talk about, is setting boundaries, you will lead to burnout. So when you think about social media and using it as a tool, set boundaries, not burnout. So think about protecting your energy. Maybe this looks like time limits, so that you have a time limit of how long you use social media for. Maybe it's content batching, so you batch your content so you're not spending as much time on it or using it. And maybe you use scheduling apps. Thinking about how you can use it for the purpose as a tool to connect with people, but with those limits, those boundaries. It could be unplugging without guilt. So building a business that doesn't rely constantly on your online presence. I'm a huge advocate for this. So one of the things I did last week was, in fact, I've still got unanswered messages. I've got messages I need to catch up with today. And do I feel guilty that I've not responded to them since Thursday? Absolutely not. Because I have a life and I don't want to be glued to my phone all of the time. So I've replied to a client that messaged me on Thursday. I replied on Friday. But I consciously chose, like, in that moment of time, Thursday I was at a wedding. This was a long wedding, right? We got up at 6:30 to start getting ready. We left at 10, got there at 11. Wedding was at 12. And then we had, the speeches, the dinner, the party, more food, all of that jazz. Hotel, stayed over. Next day we travelled back. By the time we got home, I think it's about 10, half 10. At that point we had something to eat, and then I chose to rest. But if I'm building a business that relies on my presence, right, then I wouldn't be able to unplug without guilt. So what I did in advance of that is I set a time limit, batched some content, scheduled it out, did that. That was what I did. So I didn't have to worry about it from Thursday until today. In fact, my content is scheduled until tomorrow. I was able to detach, right, without having to think about engaging, without thinking about commenting. And I didn't engage last week because I can actively engage when I'm back to it, which I've done this morning. So I want you to think about the boundaries that you set so that you're not burning out, okay? Because this is really important when it comes to social media. So when you thought about those, get clear on your purpose. So when it comes to social media, the people that you're wanting to connect to, Who are you trying to reach? What do you want them to feel, or what do you want them to do? Because if you're posting without a strategy and you're wondering why nobody's buying, nobody's engaging, this is why you have to be really clear about what the content does before you share it. So align your content with your your mission, message, and your offers. So think about each piece of content that you do, or each action that you take on social media, whether it's a comment, whether it's a post that you're posting, a reel, going live, whatever your intention is behind this, how is that connected to your mission, your message, and the offers that you sell? Because clarity breeds confidence and it creates ease as well. So the clearer you are on the purpose behind things, the more confident you can be in communicating your message and your mission and your offers to sell them, and it creates more ease in being able to create that content. And this is some of the work that I was talking about I've done behind the scenes. I've done a lot of work on my mission, my message, and my offers, which is why it's shifted slightly, why I'm about to create a whole new website, because my old one just doesn't align with me anymore. And all of that is bleeding into the services that I offer. So it's really, really important. Another thing you can do with social media is create once, repurpose often. So don't just create and churn out new posts or reinvent the wheel every single day. You don't have to do that. You can turn one post into a week's worth of content. You can repurpose this into reels, into a story, into a carousel, into an email. That one thing can become all of those things. You need to think about how you work smarter and not harder. So use that creativity you have, those ideas that you have, but systemize it. And I get that a lot of people can be in their feminine flow energy, but then it means they show up like 50% of the time, but the other 50% of the time burn out because they've used all their energy in that first half. But it's about how can you systemize this creativity. So one example I have is the way I work smarter is this episode that I'm recording right now is being captured, and my team will repurpose it. It'll be transcribed, it will be turned into an email, it'll have video clips that I can then use for my social media. I take this creative energy, this podcast that I'm recording, I do it with my lives that I do on Instagram as well. I systemize it, I turn that creative energy, those words, that content into so much more, because it saves me time and it protects my energy massively. And when it comes to social media, you want to protect your energy as much as possible. Another thing that I do is I create templates and content pillars to save time and decision fatigue. A lot of us can spend more time stuck in decision fatigue, and that can actually stop us from moving forward and getting results because we don't have the clarity. So if we work on the clarity first, create those templates, create those content pillars, it's going to save you time and decision making process. I remember when I did my first business, my keepsakes business, I used to sit every day. One of my things on my list, I had almost like checkbox exercises, right? One of the things was content. And I'd sit there looking, I don't even know what to talk about today. And the reason I didn't know what to share and I didn't know what to talk about is because I had no templates, I had no content pillars, and I was spending more time sat with a blank expression looking at my phone, taking no inspiration. I'd end up scrolling on social media. That was not getting me results. So what I have now, and I'm actually going to be teaching this inside my membership because I feel it's so important, is I have a template where I've got my content pillars listed. I've got my values listed as well, because they can be things to talk about, and I've got my services listed. So every time I'm trying to think of something, I can take that one value, that one pillar, that one idea and write about it. But I also bank all that content together and save it so that if I am ever blank expression, stuck, don't know what to post, all I have to do is go in there and copy something and paste it. I can tweak it a bit if I need, and you'll guarantee that as soon as you do that, you start spiraling with new ideas. So create the content once, repurpose it, turn it into something else, work smarter, create your own templates and content pillars that work for you and save you time. Okay, this is a strategy that massively helps. Okay, my next tip is how to stay consistent without being constant. There is a myth that you need to post daily, and I'm a bit 50-50 on this. I believe the more you post, the more you're going to gain, because we need those multiple touch points. But also, I know and believe loads of people struggle with ideas, so until we're at a point where you can churn out a lot of content and it flows from you freely, it's not possible to actually turn out loads of content like that. So yes, I do believe you need to post daily. I also believe the more you post, the more you can learn, because you can look at the insights of each post, what performed well. You can really break it down and analyse it, but we can also spend a lot of time doing on that. So I want you to be mindful of that. It's just a myth. You don't need to post daily. In fact, I'd recommend if you struggle with content, focus on 3 posts a week, and then you can add more as you get a bit more confident and you get more, you get skilled at creating content and you learn more about it, okay? Because I'd rather you be consistent and think about quality over quantity at first, but then as you get better at your content, you can really work towards more quantity whilst maintaining that quality. So that's what's really important. So that's something to be mindful of, the myth of posting daily. Second thing around being consistent without being constant is that consistency builds trust. So even if it is a smaller schedule, 3 times a week, say one of them you go live every Tuesday. This is something I used to do. When I first started out in this business, I would go live every single Tuesday, sharing tips on a certain topic, right? And I still go live weekly, quite regularly. Eventually I will churn that down, but I'd go live every single week, right? And that consistency builds trust. People then know when to expect you going live, so they can come and join, so they can come and learn, so they can come and absorb and be part of your energy. So it builds trust. So consistency builds trust, which is why it's so important. It doesn't mean you have to be constantly going live, constantly posting. It just means that you choose what consistency looks like for you, so people can build trust and connect with you. When you're having a lower energy week, so you've got this idea. Listen to Dani on this podcast. I want to be consistent, but my energy is just not there this week. What am I supposed to do? Spoiler alert, go back to what I've just talked about. Repurpose your content. Go and take something you've shared before so that you can rest. So you don't have to force yourself to find the energy to create the content. And this has been the biggest game changer for me, is taking that energy I get in creative energy, and because I'm a woman, it's based on my cycle. Sometimes I'm more creative and intuitive, sometimes I'm not, right? So when you're having that low energy week, create more then, save it for you to use, or go back and repurpose something you've already done before. And here's a little tip. If you're worried that if you repurpose content that someone's already seen before, go back 3 months. Because you guarantee your audience, people that are watching your content right now, has shifted. Go back over 3 months ago and take something from then and repurpose it, okay? That makes it super easy to be consistent without having to be constant, because you can just copy and paste. You can tweak it if you want to, but it's going to save you much more time. Schedule it out so that you can remain consistent without feeling that you constantly have to be on social media. Next thing I want to talk about is tuning out the noise. So stop watching what everyone else is doing. And I know this is really hard. I struggle with this myself. But the thing is, when we're watching what someone else is doing and all the engagement they're getting and the results they're getting, the sales they're making, we continue to beat ourselves up, right? And comparison is the quickest route to confusion. So what you need to do is focus on what your purpose is with your social media, how you want to be using it. Get excited and obsessed with your own content, your own routine, your own system, and just love that. Because it's really easy to take all the advice from different people, myself included, right? If you're struggling with content and you come and binge watch my content classes, I've got some content stuff inside my membership. It could be that you then go and watch it from another mentor and someone else, and they're all telling you different things. It just creates confusion. So what you want to do is maybe choose that one person that you feel is right for you to learn from, whether that's me or whether that's someone else, or find a template that works for you, or just create your own and create your own system, your own method. Tune out all that noise and just stick to that one method, at least for probably 3 to 6 months. Get consistent with it. If it's not working, go learn a different strategy, because all these strategies for content creation for social media, they'll work, but it might just work for that one person. I'd rather teach you to create one that works for you rather than doing what I do. I will always share with my clients what I do and what has worked for me, but I want to help you create one that works, a routine, a system that works for you as well. And also, what you can do is to help tune out that noise is to curate your feed so it inspires you, not intimidates you. So this is something I've done recently. I've purposely gone and engaged with the people that I've met at networking events. I've spent time engaging with the content that I want to see. So this is something you could probably do every day, and then eventually it will spit the algorithm of any social platform will spit out the content that you want to see. So think about people's content that you want to see more. If it's triggering you, if it's making you feel rubbish, if it's making you feel not good enough and you're comparing yourself, instead I want you to go and find someone that inspires you, not instead of intimidates you. So it could be that coach, that social media expert, the content creator, that influencer that inspires you. One for me is like Stacey Solomon. I love her feed. I love her posts about her family, her creativeness. She inspires me. She really does. One of my friends, Fiona, she's got a business called Earth and Roots. It's all about nature, and she shares what she's doing in her allotment. It's inspired me recently to start a new hobby. So I love a little snapshot behind the scenes. Started a new hobby. Started growing fruit and veg and salad in my garden. And we've started this garden project that we're going to plan and get to work on. So we've been working on that, and I'm sharing behind the scenes on that on my personal profile on Instagram. And I am bleeding it into my business Instagram as well. So if you want to come connect with me on there at Queen of Business Organisation, I am starting to show a bit more of behind the scenes of what I'm up to, because I want to inspire you to do what's right for you as well in your personal life. So definitely come and see. So curate your feed, engage with the people and the content that you actually like and that you want to see. Okay, let social media serve your strategy. So I want you to think about social media and how it supports your wider marketing plan. So how is it going to support the growth of your email list, the launches that you're doing, so any offers that you're launching, or any networking efforts that you have? Because I see people just focusing on just social media, posting so many times a day, engaging in this group and engaging in that group, which absolutely has to be part of the plan. But one thing I see a lot is people sending emails out to the same email list again and again and again and again, but they're actually not bringing anyone new there. The same as like with your social media, not bringing anyone new. So how can you cross-pollinate? How can you get people to go from your email list to your social media to email list, and vice versa? And the way to do that is you need to be constantly using social media to grow your email list. One tip that I always tell my clients is at least once a week, do something, do an action. I mean, you should be doing this every day, but if you're not there yet, remember, consistency, not being constant. You consistently, once a week, share a way that people can get onto your email list. This could be posting your lead magnet onto your social media. It could be going to a networking event and having a business card with a QR code that links to your freebie. That's exactly what I do, right? How can you do that every single week? Because you need to support your wider marketing plan, not just focus on social media. We don't own social media. So I want you to be mindful of that. And then when it comes to serving your strategy, always link back to your goals. So think about visibility, connection, conversion, right? What are your business goals overall? How can you link back to those to use social media to be visible, to use social media to connect with people, and to use social media to create conversion so people are coming to buy from you? Link back to what your overall goals are so that your social media supports your strategy and it's not just a checkbox exercise. This is why people are not getting results. This is why there's a problem. There's no connection, and we need to make that connection. So it's really, really important. Tools that help with this are scheduling platforms, using your analytics, so going into your social media and seeing how your content's performing. Again, going back to creating your own templates, so templates can help with this, and even planners. I'm actually, so at the minute, I'm doing a lot of stuff on paper. I do have a digital working document as well because I need it so that I can't lose it and so that my team can access it and things like that. But I've got a planner. I designed it 2 years ago, not used it, and I'm going back to using it because having it brain dumped on paper just helps me get so clear, and that planner helps with what I'm focusing on right now. So I'm going back to that method, and it definitely helps. So think about how you can do that. And of course, when it comes to your social media and serving your strategy, think about how you build relationships and not just reaching people, right? How you just reaches apart. You want to be doing stuff that gets you visible in front of new people, but how are you using it to build real relationships? Social media is a starting point. It's where you start conversations, and it's where your community should matter more than those vanity metrics. So yes, we do want to be looking at those analytics, but the likes and the comments are not always important. It's about how you're actually connecting with people and how you're starting conversations. My content has never had, well, Facebook actually performs really well and has lots of engagement, but my Instagram hasn't. But yet I've still brought clients from Instagram. So think about how you engage, how you comment with intention, reply to DMs, follow up beyond the post, have those conversations. And finally, I want to remind you to let social media be fun. I want you to reconnect with why you started your business, why you started using social media as part of your business. It's got to be more than just the sales. I want you to connect with and infuse joy, creativity and personality back into your content, because if using social media feels like a tick box exercise and it feels like a chore, it's not something you're enjoying, then something needs to shift. And this might be where you need to work on the things that I've talked about in this episode. So I hope this has been useful for you. Again, as always, connect with me on social media, send me a message, and let me know how you found it. Even give it a share. I'd love it if you shared. Let me know how you found it. If you implemented any of these things, let me know, because I would love to know how it's getting results for you, because it's really important for me. Like I said, I've gone back over my mission, my vision, my values recently, and one of the new values for me, like it always has been there, but it's not been at the forefront, and I want to talk about it more, is impact. It's the impact that I make through the work that I do, through this podcast, through the social media posts that I create, the emails that I send, the freebies that I create, to the services that I sell. I want to impact you to create freedom and fortune so that we can avoid burnout and breakdown, because if we are plugging way too much that doesn't align with us, without the strategies that actually work, unfortunately it does lead up to burnout. It does lead up to burnout, and I want to avoid that so that you can create that time-rich lifestyle that you deserve, where you have the time for yourself, your family, or whatever aligns with you, time for your business, and you're getting the results from it that make you feel rich in more than just money, but time too. And that's what I'm all about. So definitely let me know how that goes for you. Thanks for joining this episode, and I'll see you next time.